Okay, where the mic is on this thing, because it's very hard to hear what I'm saying. I have no clue where the mic is. Maybe this is it over here. Is it in the back? Is this it? That looks more like a speaker. But I guess I'll just speak really, really close. My macaroni and cheese is here. And so is my coffee. I have a thing or two to add that I was thinking when I was in the shower. I listened, I made another one, but I just was trying to listen to it before I posted it, and the audio was just non-existent because I don't know where the mic is. So I'm hoping that I'm talking into it as best as possible. Like I'm like really just like right all up on the laptop. And like I said, next week I plan on getting like earphones. Hmm. I have some earphones, but they're Bluetooth. I don't know if it'll sound as good as the plug-in pair, which is the pair I'm gonna get. But I did say in my last one that everything I've said up until this point has been with the idea that the person has empathy and, remorse about what they've done one day. And so sometimes it can be very scary when you think of the idea that they may try to come back or ask you to be back in their life, and you may say no, especially as a woman, because we hear so many stories about it. But for me, actually, once again, witnessing it with my own eyes, it can be very scary. But sometimes it can be scary even accepting the thought that they may not come back. And the reason why I think I am so scared either way is because after something or someone hurts you, you never really want to bump into it again. You try to do everything you can to avoid it, or any memory that can remind you of it, especially if that moment can bring you physical pain. Like if the effects of it were so strong it brought you physical pain, you may really try to stay away from any reminder of that situation. And so, if you know that the person or thing that caused you this pain has not changed its ways or its nature, your biggest fear is running back into it again and it causing you more pain. And so, just because you, and like I said, this is for anyone who's gone through this or is going through this or who may ever go through this, and they're not sure where they are in healing, or they're not sure if they're doing it right, or what it should look like, or what it may look like. Um, my dad got more chickens. I know this is very random, I just asked him the other day. I was like, "Are you gonna get more chickens?" And he was like, "Why would I get more chickens? Like, our chickens are having chickens." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's true. But like, we can like double up a little faster." And he was like, "No." And I was just like, "Okay." Did I believe him? Kind of, sort of, not really. He just went and got more chickens. Too funny. Um, but so I want to make sure it's very transparent and it's very thorough, especially because unfortunately, just in case anything does ever happen to me, like I said, whether by his hands or someone else, I do hope, or just in case, it could be sickness, it could be anything. Hopefully, it helps somebody, who may need it. I think that's my goal. I'm not very big on the idea of legacy. I don't really care about that much. But at least knowing that what I did helped people, I think would be fine for me. Um, sorry, voice crack. I'm getting emotional. Um, but sometimes it can be hard, because you think, does this mean I'm not moving on? That I keep thinking about it, or that, I want them to think about me. I want them to, regret what they've done or have remorse for what they've done. Not necessarily. It's very natural to want people to see you as a human being, to see you as someone who is worth not hurting and who is worth seeing and caring about. I think it's very natural. Um, but I think if we're speaking in terms of healing, the best thing you can do is decide and then go from there. And deciding can be very hard. It was hard for me. I've changed my mind multiple times. Um, but I was torn between not wanting to give up on this person that I love and could we, make this work? And then torn between what if I put myself back in their presence and it begins not working out and I decide to leave? Will I be in the casket? And it was very, very hard. And once again, he does not understand that because I, he was not there to experience that part of me and that trauma with my family. He wasn't there to hear about them. And so it was very hard for me to decide. It wasn't easy, especially after he had already said he could kill someone. I just wasn't sure if that was a risk I wanted to take. But giving up on him was hard as well. And if your person has maybe just made mistakes, but has never been abusive, has never shown any signs of abuse or violence or threats, then maybe it'll be a bit easier for you to decide. But when threats are mentioned, when red flags are seen, when violent actions are seen, it is something you have to be very cautious of. Um, and when that person is describing parts of your home and your life that you gave them no access to and no invite to, you do have to be very cautious. And so I think I said it better in the one that where the audio was just too shit. But I think once you decide that, it's probably not going to work out with this person, but you still want them around because you love them and you want to experience them. And just once again, it doesn't have to be sexual, it doesn't have to be romantic, it can just be as a friendship. If you're able to do that, if you're able to be okay with that, then I think you should definitely make sure that that person is also okay with that. Now, the problem is your morals can disalign with theirs as friends because you love them. And so it would hurt you to see them sleeping around, even if it's just friends, because now there's a reason you guys aren't together. They've done something to you. So it's not that you guys aren't together because you don't want to be with them or because, you know, you're happy not being with them, you don't care about them, you don't love them, you know, you're just they're just easily discardable to you. It's not like that. You love them, but being with them not in that way is what makes you feel safer to be with them at all. And you do want them in your life. And you did try to love them in that way, and they hurt you and ruin that trust. But it does not mean that you still don't love them. And so seeing them sleep around can hurt. And so I think that's something you guys have to discuss. But not only that, I think it's a bit sometimes proof that if I were the only one that you were able to choose, if I were the only one that you wanted to spend your time with, you would do so, even if you couldn't sleep with me. And if it's because you can't sleep with me that you've now decided to go spend your time elsewhere so you can sleep with others, then what you were still looking for, what you were still unable to control is your lust. And if you're unable to control it now, you would have been unable to control it if we were together. And you can't say that you wouldn't because you can't even control it now. And you may say, well, yeah, you would have been giving me, sex at that time. But that means that once again, I have to give you something before you choose me. I have to give you something before you choose me instead of it coming natural to you. And the thing is, you chose to love them naturally. They chose to destroy that naturally or manually or whatever you want to call it. And so you have a right to react in the sense of not being able to trust them. And I think the peace of mind in not sleeping with them was after they've manipulated you so many times. And sometimes I've even boasted about it. I think one piece of anxiety we may have in reconnection is if I finally do sleep with them, will they just be like, "I got you, bitch," and run away, but ass naked? Or will they one day use that as an excuse to say, okay, well, you can no longer be upset about the things I did to you because you slept with me anyways? Will they one day use that as an excuse to disengage from your other emotions? And so I think that can be very scary for us when we do want to try to be with them after what they've done, but we can't trust them after what they've done. And what I think is a good balance is if that person truly has changed and they truly do care about you, they will want you in their life no matter what it takes. Even if you aren't giving them sex. And if they truly are ready and willing to choose only you, no matter what it takes, and to prove that they're ready to do that, you won't have to give them sex. And they still won't go anywhere else and sleep around. And if they can't do that, and the thing is, you can't go sleep around after that either. Because if it'll hurt you, because you love them and you were devoted to them at one point, now they're trying to prove that they love you and care for you and they're devoted to you. And so now you can't go be the bad guy and do what you wouldn't have wanted done to you. You can't go and do that. So they can't sleep around, but you can't sleep around either. And so you both have to be willing to make this agreement. If you really want the presence of each other in your life. And if they can't, it's because they were never going to ever be able to be devoted to you to begin with. Because we hear about it all the time. Old couples can't, they don't do it as much as they used to anymore. Married couples, tired couples, sick couples. So there was always a chance your libido could go. And that person, your uterus, anything, your bottom half could go. And they were going to have to be as dedicated to you as they once were, or they've always been. And not have the excuse of, well, I'm not getting it from you, so I have to get it from somewhere. If they want you and only you, no one else will do. But if anyone else will do, then it's not all about you. And some people may say, well, that's the point. It's not all about you. But when you are choosing to love someone in a way that you love no one else, when you are choosing to make space in your life for someone where that space belongs to no one else, It kind of is like saying, hey, here's your room, here's your MVP area where it's all about you and no one else. So, sorry, I'm finishing this last bite of mac and cheese. Please bear with me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where's the lid? All of this being said, it does very much become a matter of dedication at that. And so you're not asking them for anything you're not willing to give. But I think this is the only thing that, and I do think that there has to be boundaries. You cannot give them full access to you either, you know, especially not right away. And this is with the idea that someone is willing to make things right with you after what they've done. But once again, unfortunately, sometimes they never do. They never are. And so the fear of this person wanting to make it right and, you know, chasing you down to do so, and if you say no, they may just shoot you in the face, is very real. We've heard about it too many times for it not to be. But sometimes the effects of someone never caring about what they've done to you and instead them only getting worse or them leaving a trail of victims behind is also very real. And so they may never come back to you, but they never get better either. And they may hurt the next person and the next person and the next person and the next person until either they run out of luck and they have what I recently heard is called um it's called a narcissist something, but it's like a crash, a narcissist crash or something like that. And so they may have that, or, and unfortunately, sometimes they may feel like they ran out of, you know, all their chips and coins or whatever, however gambling works. I don't fucking know. At the casino, what is it? You get chips and coins, right? And they may have ran out of all of those. And so they're just ready to throw in the towel. Or sometimes you're not the victim, but someone else could be the victim because this person never stopped. They never learned from their actions. There was never any real remorse. And so they're gonna do it again. And they will keep doing it until they learn, until they actually realize what they're doing is a mistake and they stop it. Other than that, they're gonna keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And they're gonna keep getting caught and caught and caught and caught. And sometimes they do get better at it. Sometimes it takes longer for them to get caught. But they will continue the cycle because they haven't broken it yet. So you can guarantee that. Now, once again, there's a chance that eventually that cycle can stop and they can want better and seek redemption. But it's not a guarantee. And so just because I've said all I've said in the other videos or audios doesn't mean it's a guarantee that that person's going to change or want to do right by you. It's not, unfortunately. But It's okay to still be afraid of the idea of bumping into them again. It's okay. Especially if you do start to get better and you bump into them, because you never know if that may trigger them to then want to do something or to see you again or to stalk you or pick up their bad habit of stalking you. It's very much okay to be afraid of a dangerous person. It's actually intelligent to be afraid of a dangerous person. And so, if you're dealing with a rabid animal who has not changed its behavior, it's okay to be scared to walk into a room where that rabid animal may be. And so don't be afraid and don't be down on yourself for wanting to avoid this person, even if it's at the length of moving jobs, moving houses, moving states. Because at that point, your faculties have been, it's kind of like when an airplane is crashing and everything starts beeping and flashing, they're sent into this panic mode and it starts to deteriorate everything. It starts to figure out, okay, do we need more oil? No, let's turn this engine off so the other engine can work better. Oh shit, we need both engines. Okay, unbuckle everybody's fucking seatbelts. No one needs seatbelts. Wait, people need the seatbelts. God damn, the airbags won't come down. Like it tries to see what it can output so there's more energy inside. And I don't know if planes really do that, but this is kind of just an example. And so your body starts to conserve energy as a survival mechanism. And so it starts to only be able to survive. And now you can't, brush your teeth. Now you can't take a bath. Now you can't clean up. Now you can't go hang out with friends because all you're able to do is sleep, get dressed, go to work, come home, sleep, get dressed, maybe eat, go to work, come home, and it becomes a means of, I just have to survive through this. And you're not able to live anymore through anything. And so you don't want that because everything will keep declining, declining. And then what will happen is you'll look around and you'll be like, what has my life become? I had to do that, a year and a half ago. Like, what is going on? What's happening right now? What's this and what's that? After I finally left my job the last time I ever saw him. And I was just at home and for maybe like days I didn't do anything. I just slept and it was hard to sleep. It really was. And but I tried and it was like maybe months later after leaving that I finally, picked up something here and picked up something there and moved this and put this where it goes. And the more clean it got, the more I realized how messy it had been. And the more I was able to relax a bit more and rest a bit more. And then the more I realized, like, whoa, I was really going through it. And oh my God, my hair is, not growing as fast. And oh my God, my teeth. And oh my God, Brittany, your lip. Oh my God, your nose. Like, everything was just falling apart. And I was just like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? Like, what happened? And it took a minute of where have I been? And is this real? And what's real? And it was amazing to come back to that and then put myself back in that situation. It deteriorated all over again. He did not give me any space all over again. It was horrible all over again. He was still unempathetic the whole time, lied the whole time, gaslit again the whole time, slept around that time. It was even worse. And so, of course, it did not do well. And so this time it was easier to come back to myself because I remember how good it felt last time to come back to myself. And I was like, yeah, let's just get right back on that. And it felt amazing. And I think this was the most successful time I've done it. And I can't go through that again. It's only been 2 months, but I'm not going to let it turn into a year like it did last time. I'm out. I want to be fucking done. And so I can't wait to get back into that. And so you will have even maybe that period of a thing, but it's very much natural, like I said, to not want to be in that situation ever again, especially if you know they haven't changed. And so if you have to keep cutting people off and, like I said, moving around, do that. Do that. It's better you take control of whatever is left than just succumb to what's given. Have a little faith. If you found this job, you'll find another one. If you found this apartment, you'll find another one. If you found this date, try another one. And yeah, you may keep bumping into people. But guess what? The motherfucker can't be everywhere at once. And so you just keep moving. And of course, if you keep bumping into them everywhere you go, then there's a bigger issue because there's no fucking way. There's no way. So a few times may be a coincidence, but state by state, like I said, a city is one thing, a state is another. So I'm not too surprised that I've bumped into someone he knows, especially in an area he hangs out in. Not very surprised. Unfortunate, but not surprised. So maybe try getting a job in another city or a bit further out, and we'll see how that goes. But of course, maybe sometimes you just feel safer moving states altogether, which I know I will. So I'm going to save and do that. And if you ever do find yourself being, like I said, okay with the idea of maybe ever letting them back into your life, because I do believe if you really want someone in your life, you will make space for them. I think the best thing you can do for your own mental health, if you're afraid that they're manipulating you, is to not give them any sex. Because then they can never turn around and say, "You dumb bitch, you slept with me anyways." They'll never be able to say that. And never give them any parts of you. If you don't trust them and you don't know how long it'll take to build that trust, just let them know. And if they care about your comfort, they'll be patient, no matter how long it takes. Whether it takes 50 years or 60 years, they'll be patient. If they really want you there, they will just be happy you let them be there. And they will just be happy you show up. Um, and they won't ask you for anything else. They won't ask you for anything that's between your legs. They won't ask you for anything that's in your wallet if they don't need to. They will just be happy that the opportunity to be together again has presented itself. And if they pressure you or anything less or more, then you have a right to question that. Because once again, you are where you are and in the mindset you are in because of what they did to you. And they may never truly understand the depth or the effects that played on you. And no matter how much you explain it, they will never truly know because they don't feel it. Only you know because only you're experiencing it, no matter how much you describe it to anyone, including them. And so the best thing you can do at that time is to say, this is my experience. This is the effects of what you've done. You asked me what I needed. You asked what would make me feel better. You asked what would make this work. And I am telling you, if that's what you want, then you'll act like it. And you will allow that to be. But these are the boundaries. And once again, that takes you having to stick with that boundary. And no matter how much you want to do, don't do it because you may end up only feeling worse if you do and it ends badly. You may only end up feeling worse. And sometimes, and you have to be very careful, sometimes they may wait 20 or 30 years just to be like, all right, bitch, I've been sleeping around the whole time. I'm fucking out, you dumb hoe. Thanks. And now you've been dedicated to them for 20, 30 years, not sleeping around. Whole time they were getting some on the side, and then they still got you. So the least you can do is never give them you. They've already taken enough, especially without your consent. That should be more than enough. And of course, if they are sleeping around, then they're just proving your point as to why you don't trust them. You don't ever move in with them. Don't ever live with them. Don't ever build a life with them. You two are just individuals. It's almost unfortunate like you become a divorced couple who still hang out with each other. But it's because you're never able to quite get back together or be in that space again. Or that mindset of lovers or a potential lover again. I think everyone is a lover if you can love your lover, but it still allows you to experience each other and to experience life together if that's what you choose to do. And it also does show devotion and faithfulness if that's what you guys truly want to show to each other. But once again, that means you can't sleep around either. And so, as long as that person is not there, as long as that person is not showing up for you, is not caring for you, and they've made it very clear that they aren't hurt by your absence, they aren't hurt by anything you do. If you go sleep around, they wouldn't give a fuck. Then go sleep. Go do what you want. Because you're not hurting them. Let them tell it. And you can only go by what they tell you. But they know it's hurting you. And they know it hurt you if they already did it. They know it hurt you. Because you told them and you showed them that it would hurt you. And so they chose to hurt you. You're not choosing to hurt them because supposedly it doesn't hurt them. But the moment they do tell you that, hey, I love you, I want to try to fix this, or I care about you, I want to try to fix this, it'll hurt me to see you with someone else, if you really do love them and you wanted that same dedication, you can give it back to them. And that's not giving more of yourself. That's only sticking by the morals and faith or faithfulness you were going to have for them anyways. And it's kind of the same thing you're asking of them. If you say that you were going to give it to me in a relationship, give it to me now. And if you can't give it to me now, just because I'm not sleeping with you, or just because I said no, then what is all this noise? I wonder. Who is it? Ah, my sister's here. Hold on.